Gamers! It's Calabai here bringing you another build video. I recently released an Oakensoul build utilising the two-handed playstyle, so I wanted to do the same but using a sword and shield instead. This is a 1-bar Warden build that makes use of the sword and shield playstyle, making it super tanky and survivable. This build was really tough to put together because the sword and shield skill line does lack a lot for PvP, especially when it comes to damage output. But after testing what feels like hundreds of different set combinations, I feel like I've hit a good balance. It's not a meta build, but more importantly it is super fun to play, so it's the perfect kind of build that I like creating. Before we get into the build, if you enjoy my content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And maybe consider hitting the join button and becoming a channel member to support my content so I can keep making it. So without further ado, let's get into the build. Okay, here we are. We're ready for the 1-bar Oakensoul sword and shield build. First of all, let's look at the stats. 38k health, that goes up to 40 thanks to minor toughness, almost 42. 14k magicka, 20k stamina. They're both a bit low, but we're using an equal number magicka and stamina skills, so it's not too bad. 5k weapon damage. Penetration is also a bit on the low side, but that's okay because we have minor and major breach on this build, so that more than makes up for it. 22k resistances, 1.8k crit resist. Magicka and stamina is very equal, but the majority of our sustain we get for being an Argonian, because we're making use of the resourceful passive. When you drink a potion, you restore 3,000 health, magicka, and stamina. So if we pair that with the tri-pots that we're using, which recover 10,000 health, 7,000 magicka, and stamina, that means we're getting pretty much all of our stats back just from using a pot. Also, you get fortitude, intellect, and major endurance, which increases the recoveries. So it procs it all up, and then by the time you run out of stats again, you're ready to use another pot and you're back up to full. So sustain is fantastic on this build. A couple more things to go over. Of course, we've got all the Oakensoul buffs. We are using the warrior Mundus Stone for a little bit of extra damage, and we're using smoked bear haunch. Very expensive food, but I do highly recommend it. Gives you max health and then health recovery, magicka recovery, and stamina recovery, so it's always nice to have a bit extra. Okay, right, let's get into the sets. First things first, we know we've got Oakensoul on, gives us a huge amount of buffs, but doesn't let us bar swap. So I was absolutely determined to make a sword and shield build. Even though sword and shield lacks a lot of good PvP skills, but I was absolutely determined. So I've messed around with these sets a lot. I've used so many different ones and different combinations, and I feel like we've hit a very good balance. So the first set we're going for is Deadlands Demolisher, which is a craftable set. It gives you stamina, damage, stamina, and your bash attacks deal an extra 900 more damage, and then when you bash, you do 2,322 physical damage in a cone in front of you, interrupting enemies. We're going for this because our main spammable we are going for is Power Slam, which counts as a bash. So we're getting a lot of use out of this. It procs all the time because we're spamming Power Bash all the time, and it does a lot of damage. So we have that on the helm, the shoulders, the hands, the belt, and the feet. We have those all in medium. I did try going more heavy on this build because the heavy armor passive increases your damage done with bash by 30 for each piece of heavy armor, but we were just giving up way too much having heavy armor. So I've gone more medium because medium armor we get more weapon damage overall. So it increases the rest of our damage skills. We get more recovery and we get more movement speed, and sacrificing all those just for a little bit of extra damage for bash, and it wasn't even that much. I tested both ways. So yeah, it was just better to go medium. So we got 5-piece medium. And then Deadlands Demolisher, and then the other set we're going for is Knight Errants. That gives you health, stamina, damage, and then adds 440 damage to your one-hand and shield abilities, which we have a few of. And then whenever you use the one-hand shield ability, you heal. So you're getting heals all the time. We've got this on a sharpened sword. It could be a mace, it could be a dagger, doesn't matter which, with one-handed shield. So we've got a sword, shield, necklace, ring, and then I've got it on the legs. It could be any heavy piece because Knight Errants only comes in heavy. So yeah, we're making use of doing a lot of damage with our one-hand and shield abilities. And we still don't have, I'll be honest, we still don't have huge damage, but this build is relentless. Like, we have a gap close so you can't escape, and it just puts on so much pressure, and we heal ourselves at the same time because we're spamming Power Bash and Shield Assault. So yeah, we keep our heals high and our damage consistent, and it works. And then we have one piece trainee on the chest as well. That's heavy. So we have 2 heavy, 5 medium. We have reinforced on 2 big pieces, and then we have some impens and divines. You could probably swap out some of these impens. I just wanted to make sure I was as survivable as I could be, so I could focus on damage output. And then we have an infused weapon damage on the necklace, and then 2 swift on the Oakensoul and swift on the Knight Errants. So that's 5-piece Knight Errants, 5-piece Deadlands Demolisher, 1 trainee, and 1 Oakensoul. So we've gone sharpened sword, but I'm also using a poison. This is a drain health poison, which drains health from your target, restores it to you, making us more survivable. It also drains stamina from your target and gives it to us. Gives us better recovery, and it reduces their physical resistance and increases our resistance as well. So this is a great poison. I love it. I get way more use out of this than any enchantment I would get. You make this by using Beetle Scuttle, Columbine, and Mountain Flower. So it's a very good set to run. If you do struggle with survivability, I did try out another set called Noble's Conquest. When you bash a target, you heal over 10 seconds, and you apply minor vulnerability to the enemy, increasing their damage taken by 5%. So I did try using Noble's Conquest instead. I just swapped out Knight Errants for Noble's Conquest, but I lacked a bit too much damage doing this. So if you do struggle to survive, maybe try out this. It's another craftable set, so it's easy to get hold of, and just replace it for Knight Errants. So yeah, I also tried out things like Unleashed, Terror, and some other sets, but this is the best combination I could come up with, and God, it is fun. It is so much fun. So yeah, let's get into the skills. Only the 1 bar to look at. First of all, Power Slam. Strike an enemy full force with your shield, dealing physical damage. While slotted, blocking any attack grants you resentment, which reduces the cost by 49%. And it's considered a bash, so anybody who's casting, sorcerers using Dark Deal, Templars hitting you with Radiant Destruction, if you just hit them with this, it interrupts them. So yeah, it's not the best spammable, but it's very cheap as well, so you can hit it a lot. And then we keep up the pressure by not letting them escape with this gap closer, Shield Assault. You rush towards them, dealing damage and stunning them. This is our stun. And it gives you a damage shield as well, so it makes us a bit more survivable whilst we're spamming these skills and healing too. And also, we are using Deep Fissure. I think this skill is the only reason this build is possible, to be honest. It does a huge amount of damage. You cast it, after 3 seconds it explodes in front of you, and then after 6 seconds it explodes in front of you again and does more damage. But the main reason we're using it is for Major and Minor Breach, which reduces their physical and spell resistance by 6,000 and 3,000. So that's the equivalent of having an extra 9,000 penetration. So what I do is I hit this first. You don't even need to buff up on this build when you're running into a fight because you got all your buffs already thanks to Oakensoul. So you hit Deep Fissure, you charge in with a Shield Assault, hit them with a Power Slam, that will stun them as well, and then just Deep Fissure and Power Slam will go off at the same time, and you just keep up the Power Slam combos and burn them down that way. And then we're using Polar Wind. This is the best heal in the game, I think. I think it's why Wardens are super good at the moment in PvP. instantly heal for 15,000, and then an additional 3,700 every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So this is our huge panic heal. Yeah, when we're not getting our enough heals from using night errands or from using our poisons, this is what we use in a panic. And then we also have Bird of Prey, which gives us movement speed, we can move around, we can line of sight, we can, control where we want to be, remove snares and immobilizations as well. It does also give you minor berserk while slotted, but we get that from Oakensoul anyway, so that's moot. But yeah, so this is why we've got a equal combination of stamina and magicka recovery, because we're using 3 magicka skills and a couple of stamina skills, and then we need stamina to block and break free and stuff as well. But yeah, we got more than enough sustain to keep up these skills. And then Dawnbreaker of Smiting. This does a stun and a huge amount of damage, and damage over time as well. So if you can line this up with your Deep Fissure and your Power Slams, it's more than enough to burn somebody down easily. And then get a bit more damage for having it slotted too. So yeah, just a couple of things I want to talk about is Deep Fissure can be a bit iffy sometimes because it comes out in front of where your character's looking and not where you're looking. So you always need to make sure you move to face the way you want it to go. And it does get a bit of an issue when you use Shield Assault. Because if you Shield Assault in, half the time you'll be inside another player. Which one isn't very sanitary because you don't know where that player's been. But 2, it means that your Deep Fissure will come out and it will miss them because you'll be right on top of each other. So I always recommend power slamming and then taking a step back just to make sure it lands, and then we can hit the power slams as well. And yeah, so Deep Fissure, Dawnbreaker and Power Slam all at once is a huge amount of damage. And it gives them minor and major breach as well. So yeah, we can keep up the pressure. They try and run away, we keep power slamming them, and yeah, there's no escape. We can just sustain forever. So yeah, I think I talked about the trades. 2 reinforced. We do have a magicka recovery and 2 weapon damage on our jewelry. We just need a little bit extra magicka recovery because those magicka skills are expensive. The last thing to go over is champion points. Green tree. Always the same, just make sure you get break full to reduce the fall damage. When you're jumping off keeps and cliffs, you want to be able to survive that. Most important one though is blue tree. We have focus mending, increasing your healing done with single target heals, so this comes in handy a lot, especially with our polar wind. Master at Arms, increasing your damage done with direct damage attacks, so that would be all of our sword and shield skills as well. I have Untamed Aggression, which will just increase my weapon and spell damage by an extra 150. You could probably switch this up for something else, but I like having just a little bit more there. And Ironclad, reducing your damage taken by direct damage attacks by 3%. Sorry, 6% overall. In the red tree, we have Boundless Vitality for the extra health, because Polar Wind gives us a bigger heal the more health we have. Celerity, increasing your movement speed. I love to run around all over. Pain's Refuge, reducing your damage taken by 2% for every negative effects. You're in PvP, you've always got negative effects on you. And Sustained by Suffering, just for an extra health, magicka, and stamina recovery. And there we go, this is the build. It's honestly so much fun. Like, you don't have to think about it, you can just get stuck in. You don't have to like time when you can jump into a fight, you know, because your buffs are all just there already. And you just sprint in, hit them with Dawnbreakers and everything. Deep Fissure's going off, and yeah, there you go. Hope you enjoy. And that's the build. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really enjoying these Oakensoul PvP builds. I love the 1-bar playstyle and just getting stuck into the fight. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions or ideas on how to improve this one further. Thank you everyone so much for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.